Well, Luke, is Nathan Buckley right? He said earlier this week that we're getting you at the perfect time. Is he on the money there?
Oh, look, I'm not sure about that. We've prepared as best as we can. We went into the pre-season with a pretty strong process that everything was being tailored towards round one, and we don't feel that anything's changed with that. So at this point in time, we don't really know, but the proof will be in the pudding Friday night. So we've prepared as best we can for round one, and that's been our focus all along.
You have had to squeeze a bit in though. How far off your best do you think in terms of physical preparation? Would you be? Would it be a couple of weeks? Would it be a month?
No, I think we're on the money. The last couple of games, I know our first practice game to get trounced by West Coast by a fair margin wasn't ideal, but the last couple of weeks, our effort and intensity has been where we would like it, and albeit a little bit behind on perhaps some of the mechanisms and structures, etc. So we've just been working through that the last couple of weeks, but certainly our effort and intensity, our game fitness, etc. is right where we'd like it to be.
So Cross Lions said earlier in the week that Zach Mark would have to be a Hail Mary to actually be included in the side, but as far as I know, he actually travelled yesterday along with Collingwood. Did Zach Mark sort of show like a massive improvement in training or something like that?
Oh, look, he's certainly here as just in case. Of course, Aaron is in terrific nick and great shape, etc. But worst case scenario, something were to happen with himself or Jack Hanneth, then Zach is around the mark. But and of course Colin Sylvia as well. So like any other team, we come prepared, and we've got a couple of players that are in the wings and ready to step in if need be.
Well, look, with the mental side of things, with last year's grand final, how much do you personally just wipe it from your mind versus use it to harness it and motivate you?
Yeah, I mean, the way we've dealt with the grand final is, we went through a pretty rigorous review process, which went for a couple of weeks, and we all dealt with, I guess, the psychological elements of it also. But since sort of November last year, we haven't really focused on it at all. So in our minds, the past is the past, and we need to move on. And at this point in time, we can't allow any of that to creep into a focus or a mentality going forward, because we know that every other team at this point in time feels that they can win it. So we're back to square one, and we need to start again, and all our, I guess, strategies and philosophies are tailored and point towards round one.
Just back on Colin Sylvia, Ross said yesterday that he'd like to keep a surprise up his sleeve. I know he was hinting at anything there. Is there a chance what's the chance do you think of Colin coming into the side?
Well, again, in the same situation with Zach Clark, I mean, he's in the wings, and we come prepared, and if something, a player were not to get up, then they would come in, and they've done their preparation and they're ready to go. But at this point in time, they're not in the side, but if something were to change, they would be.
The fact that the team is so close to the team that played in the grand final last year in terms of the full lineup, how much of an advantage do you think that is in terms of getting a new season?
Look, it's always good to have your best players on the park, and so in this case, we're very fortunate, in particular, to have Aaron Sandlands and Matthew Pavlich, who weren't really playing much footy this time of year last year. So, yeah, it's great to have our best players on the park, and that certainly fills us with confidence going into the season. But at the end of the day, when the balls bounce, we have to give great effort.
John, we're prepared at the start of this year than we were actually last year because of that personnel.
Sorry, say that again.
You're better prepared for the start of your personnel because of that personnel that you were missing last year.
Yeah, we had a few injury issues early in the season last year. But at this point in time, to have particularly those senior players available is great for us.
Tough start for you as well. You draw the importance of just getting away to a good start.
Yeah, it's always very important to get away to a good start. I'm sure every club wants to, and we're no different. But yeah, we have a tough draw. We appreciate that. I think we had a tough period last year as well. There was about 8 or 10 games where we were missing a lot of key personnel and managed to sort of battle through that period. So we know that if we keep coming with our great effort, etc., and our game plan, then that tends to stand up, and we're hoping that will stand us in good stead, particularly in these early rounds.
Look, can you expand a bit on Aaron Sandlands? We're a bit fascinated by him over here, but obviously had a wretched run. I mean, he looks like he's absolutely killing it at the moment, and from over east, looks like he's about to just tear the competition apart. Can you just give us an insight insight as to how far back he's come and how he's going now and the promise that he holds?
Yeah, he's had a wretched run the last few years. I think a lot of people forgot potentially how good he is, and in recent weeks he's been in super form. So it just gives us an enormous advantage, particularly in the stoppage area, of course. But to have a figure of 7 foot tall, 120 kilos on the field is certainly an advantage, and but we have to capitalise on that. Yeah, he's been travelling well. He'll be pretty close to playing a game soon, I would imagine, but he's been just progressing through his rehab program as we expected him to, and I think just the other day I watched him training outside, and he's moving very, very well, and I'm sure he's not too far away.
Aside from Morabito, he'll almost be the unluckiest stopper in terms of injury in the last few years, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has been, but yeah, Garrick's someone that really carries himself well, and I certainly no one would have noticed that he's been down on himself, particularly missing the games last year late in the season. So, but he's done his rehab very diligently, and I'm sure he's not too far away.
How have you been able to read Collingwood in the pre-season? Do you do much homework the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, we've been looking at them pretty closely this week. We tend to sort of look at a bit of a package of all their particular areas and strengths, etc. So yeah, we've got a pretty good handle of the way they go about things, and we'll have a final team meeting tomorrow just to tie everything up.
Who are you expecting to come in? Obviously, don't really know why. Throwing your plans around that you might get around it.
Yeah, not really. I mean, I'm most likely to go to a Cloak or someone of that ilk, or a Lynch or something like that. So we'll see what they throw at us, given that they've got a couple of key tools out. But just the way they structure up, between myself, Michael Johnson and Zach Dawson, the other tall defenders, we'll certainly have our work cut out for us.
The way your back line plays, Ross has flagged an extra 2 goals average a game. Is there any room for your back line to be a bit more attacking this year as part of that, do you think?
Yeah, look, I think we've got some really